Thanks for joining me, and yeah, I guess I would love to just start. I will be the first to admit I am shamelessly obsessed with the new Infinite Objects piece that you just dropped. The
So
void, like
adorable.
the way you cropped the front layer is just something I've never seen before. That like unique shape, it's so special, and I would just love to know, maybe just like if you could share about your creative process and how working with like a physical object has influenced maybe your vision for the project.
Yes, of course. Well, it's so funny that you mentioned that, like about the shape of the front layer and all, because like anytime I work with you guys of Infinite Objects, I always like it's always a challenge for me because I really want to make sure that I take this opportunity of having all of those layers and like working on that illusion of like perspective and like 3D object kind of thing. Obviously I don't do 3D. I mean, not really, that's not part of my process. So I try and like find some tricks and a little, yeah, just little ways of making it more dimensional in a way, because my work can look really flat sometimes. And I just find it so interesting to work in layers and think about what's going to be at the forefront, how we're going to be able to really blend that screen into a bigger picture so that it's not really just obvious, and it kind of blends in the landscape of both the object and the person's environment where the object is going to live in, right? I always think about that, so it's always very challenging for me. And obviously, as you know, but perhaps some people don't know about that, is that my work is mainly both tangible and digital. So it's about half half of the process is divided into those two parts. And so the base part of the work itself is going to be more a work around video and pictures of paints and different fluids, and just like a lab, some kind of lab work. I love saying that it's a lab work, but really it's just more of a kitchen work right now because it's in my kitchen. It's not a lab at all, it's just in my sink. It's always been like that, and I just like it. It's just so funny. I don't need a lot of material for that. I just have, like my overhead camera, filming in 4K, editing some frames um from those videos that I just take. And it's so funny because like I don't really care about that part. It's just like experimenting, having fun, not really caring about either what I'm gonna use. It's just really, really more like a playground, and it's fun. And I love that. And then you come back to the computer and you have to take control back up with playing with the colors, because the basis of my work is not very much colored. In fact, it's pretty much uh black and white all the time, or either black and white and blue for the camera to pick up some more contrast. And then all of the colors are edited in post production, which is
Oh
my favorite
wow.
part, because honestly, like there's nothing like RGB, like we really try to replicate that, but with paint, it's just so expensive and difficult to really get that color right. And I'm very obsessive with the way I want my colors to look like.
Mhm.
So it's way more easy to just like do it in production, and it's so much fun because I have all of my pre-made color palettes, and I just make up new ones from them and just mix and match them up. Have all of those um intertwined and superposed layers as well. It's so funny because like just playing with the blend modes and all, it's not that complicated. Like I wouldn't say my style is complicated. My work is not complicated to replicate or do. It's just um small tips and tricks, and just like working on the details that really makes a difference, I guess, for me. um And as many artists, I just spend so much time zooming in, fine tuning, so like the silliest tiny details, tiniest curves that are not the way I want them to be, and just like yeah, zooming in, zooming out is so important. And then like for for example, when it comes to the infinite object, this is like obviously an animated artwork. So I have several ways of like animating my work. But usually I have the space layer of the paint going in that Pyrex bowl that I use.
Wow,
I'm not
that's
sponsored by
amazing.
Pyrex, but it's just so convenient to wash off. So that is great. And so I have the paint moving in there, and sometimes I will just leave it like that and have like that very fluid and organic movement. And other times I just work with I would work with Touch Designer or After Effects and just enhance all of that movement, or do some kaleidoscopes from that, some tunnel vision kind of thing, which is what we did for that infinite object in particular, because I really wanted to be like kind of a wormhole situation, kind of like because it's called the void, so I wanted to have that feeling of infinitely sinking into something. But obviously it's difficult to replicate with just the camera itself, so it's just about like having that conversation in between mediums, um and all of those layers of knowledge and technicity really just make out the whole process. And obviously there might be some easier way to do that. I don't know. That's just the way I do things. Sometimes it's more complicated, and sometimes you want it to be more complicated, because when it's more complicated, you
Mhm.
just have to solve some challenges and you learn more that way. So yeah, that's about it. At least you have a glance of like how things come out together, and obviously there's the graphic designer part in me that takes up a little challenge when it comes to really making that exist into a certain composition or object. I always love having a little bit of graphic design-ish layer on top. But I don't know, some people would just call it illustration. I don't know. It's just, for me it's design, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That is so cool. I feel like I have such a deeper understanding of your work now, knowing just the way that you layer in the different tools and the different mediums, and like I it's interesting you say like it could be potentially easily replicated, but I just think that there's something so special about the way that you see it that makes it just so amazing. I don't know. I love it. I love that context. I think it's so interesting.
Thank you, that's so sweet of you to say.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention too our founder, the founder of Infinite Objects, Joe mentioned he mentioned it's one of your magic prints. I think it's from maybe
Yeah,
like
I remember.
3 years
I remember we
ago.
had this conversation already, and when we met in New York as well, he was, like, telling
Yeah.
me all about the Magic Princess, while I was like, "That is so wholesome," because honestly, um, making objects for me is so important. It makes
Mm,
everything more fun, more interesting, more challenging, and just more creative, because like it's just so interesting. And whenever someone like gets interested about the objects that I make, I am so grateful, because it's so easy nowadays to just like see so many objects and you want them, but you never really end up like getting it, because like obviously it's an investment, it's a budget, it's everything. And you're like, when people buy things from artists, it just makes my heart so full of love, because for the longest time, so many people have been trying to sell and create um artworks of the mind. Like, we call these artworks of the mind, because it's something that's created by the human brain that gets turned into something tangible or virtual. And I don't know, it feels like someone is like owning like a part of your story, a part of yourself, really. It's just, it's great, because you feel so much less lonely knowing that,
yes.
in a
Oh
way.
my gosh. Yeah, no, there's something so meaningful about that sense of community, and getting into that sense of community too. I remember like maybe even 2 years ago, I stumbled upon your Heal the Deal project, which was it was such an important. It seems so important to me at the time, and now especially. I understand mental health and healing is a strong theme in your work, and um, yeah, I guess I'm just kind of curious to know how do you see your audience engaging with it? What kind of sort of impacts do you hope to evoke? Talk a little bit about that in your work.
Yes, of course. Well, I was mentioning the fact that, it feels less lonely to be in people's houses, in people's inspiration boards, and it's just like it's so funny. And but it's not just about that. And I think I wanted more, and I've always wanted more of my art than just being like and just like on inspiration boards, and which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fantastic, but the point of when I started creating this art, it was an act of self just self introspection, self development, healing, all of that. But it rapidly just changed into something more exponential, and just trying to connect with people that are facing the same emotions, the same situations, the same history, which is basically people all around the world, because we all go through the same thing.
Mhm.
And we're always so lonely. And it's so funny because, like, at the same time, everyone is feeling the same, but yet we are so vulnerable in our own little corner of the world and of this dimension. I was like, I just want to make people feel like it's okay to be vulnerable, to get deeper into yourself, to explore those parts of you. And obviously, art therapy and color therapy, color healing, all of that is a great tool to get to that point. But so that's what I do with my art. But I also wanted more, in the sense that I at some point I didn't feel like I was vulnerable enough and sharing enough with the people that uh resonated with my art and that supported my art. And it felt really important for me to take a step further in how I am being honest and how I'm being open with those people, and how I can help further than just the art. I've always been very dedicated to hearing people ever since I was very, very young. I would always be just a great, I guess, listener, and always, try and give advices and all. I guess my experience with always being in therapy really just had an influence
Yes.
on me. I guess in a bad way at first, and then in a great way eventually, which is a very interesting turn of events. But that message is like everywhere. It's in everywhere I'm trying to do. And I remember when I was in graphic design school, I also made an important point of talking about mental health and emotions and vulnerability in my practices as a designer, and how designers could implement more emotional intelligence in the way they work, and how they shape design in general. And at the time it was like it was so weird, like when I presented that thesis, like people were like, okay, well, that is very kind of like esoteric, but at the same time,
Wow.
it's very funny. And it was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna dedicate my life into just trying to pin that in everything that I do, and eventually the message is gonna get across.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and I think it's just that the way I see things is that we're all very much connected, and everything is connected. And that's also another underlying message in what I do, is that I always think about I guess the universe and like those greater questions that we all have is like, why are we here? What are we gonna be after that? um is there like other dimensions, and like what can we be in this dimension for ourselves, for others? And I'm so deeply passionate about all of those topics about afterlife, the universe, space, and how weirdly intertwined it is with emotions and states of being in general, right? It feels like, we talk about astrology and how the planets and the moons influences us from the day we were born and all of that. It's crazy because someone just asked me this morning as well, like, do you really think do you really believe about those things? And I was like, I think it is a belief. Just like a lot of things are a belief. And I think it is great to have some beliefs and something that just make you more in tune with yourself and others. And that's what I preach for, whatever that might be. And that's why with that piece, I was like, I'm always doing something spacey, thinking about the void and how those terms of the universe always resonate with the mind, the human mind. Like, let's say when you're like, you feel a void inside yourself, and then there's like all of those wormholes and dark holes in space that feel like a void as well, and we don't know what's inside. I just always like having this as trying to answer these never ending questions and trying to put some perspective into the act of creation, the creator, and the universe around. It's like a conversation that I love having in my work, I guess.
I think that's so awesome. And as you were talking, it's this thought kind of came to me of this idea of like when people sort of feel a void inside of themselves, I imagine like something dark and scary, but I love this concept of like a twist on like a beautiful void, like a void that allows us to go into something that isn't scary and dark. And I think that that's just such a nice kind of way to turn that like scary darkness unknown on its head into something so special and gorgeous, and I think
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I love it. It's just like that's why I put that quote as well on the object, like the void holds no fear for those who just like aren't afraid of the unknown, because like there's there's a known unknown in everyone and anyone, and it holds all of the, like the deepest secrets of the universe and of yourself, and all of that is just it's not dark matter, because it is always existing, and what exists is can be seen under the spectrum of light, and light is color, and eventually it all blends together. And I just love how I try to find color in everything, because honestly, it reminds me of like when you close your eyes and you see all of those shapes and patterns, and like supposedly when you close your eyes you should be only seeing black, right? Because that's what the technicity of how it works is like you
Right.
shut your eyes and it's black. And it's so funny to me that there's so much more behind those curtains. And I just want people to dive into that spectrum of themselves, because just like there's a color spectrum, there's a spectrum of the self as well. And I've been loving studying all of that for the past, I don't know, like 7 years, 8 years soon. It's been such an humbling journey, and I wish I could do more, and I think I'm going to try and do more, even more as I grow. I have some I have a lot of plans about my practice in art therapy and color therapy that I really want to try and um, grow as much as possible. I really want to be able to acquire more knowledge as well, and help more people as well. So I've been trying to look into just new path, like new ways of just shifting my process and making it even deeper. So perhaps I'm just gonna start and like a therapy course or something to eventually become like an art therapist, like an actual art therapist. How fun would that be? That would be
Oh,
great. I would love that. There's so much
that's
possibilities.
amazing. Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think it's so great too because it really like speaks to just your practice of layering every tool that you have in your like toolbox, like layering your art practice to be able to help others, to be able to, create a new path, like something like art therapy. I think that is so amazing. But yeah, I'm kind of wrapping up on my questions here, but it's been so nice chatting with you, and just I feel like I really have such a better understanding for you and your artwork. But I'd love to just ask if there's anything that you're excited about, any upcoming shows or drops, or any other artists you're working with, just anything you want to shout out.
Yes, of course. I'm always so excited about so many things. I mean, that's not true. Like, actually, that's not true. I'm not always excited, but um, because like when I don't have work coming in, and when it's just me and my praxis, and I don't get to do other things for other people, it's quite hard actually to deal with that, the feeling of always being tied to your work, and when you don't have work coming in you kind of feel useless. So I'm really trying to detach myself from that, and in that way I've been really trying to tap into my desires, my dreams, just like really find what do I need from this practice? What haven't I done yet that I've always wanted to do? What is possible for me to do? And I was so surprised because like in those periods of time where there's not a lot happening that all the questions are really asked, and you get to see things clearly as well. And so I have so much actual stuff coming in that's gonna be so fun, so many objects that I am so excited about. I have a puffer jacket
Oh
that's gonna
my
be
gosh.
produced by my dear friends and colleagues at off script. They are from Montreal. I've been working with them for so long right now, and it is so exciting. We turned that concept that I did with AI, where I applied my stuff on a puffer jacket. It was like a North Face fictional collaborations at first, and then they
Oh
were like,
wow.
let's just do it, with your brand. Like, you don't need anyone else, you can do everything by yourself. Like, it's all you.
Wow.
You don't need anyone. If you really want to do it, let's do it. So we're working on that. We're working also on a color therapy slash mood lamp as well, which I am
Oh my
so excited about because I've been really trying to dive more into the concept of like daily objects,
gosh.
objects for home, making people's environment more colorful, getting that serotonin boost as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of thing happening with serotonin boost decor. At the time, it's like a trend, but for me, it's always been like that. Like, I really want to
Mhm.
surround myself with colors and things that bring me joy and that reflect how I'm feeling inside. And I want that for others as well. And I think it's so great. And I've been really trying to explore more about making those kind of objects, but obviously it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been it's been great. I have a lot of exciting client work that I cannot talk about now, but
Of course.
it's gonna be revealed next year, so it's gonna be a long time. And honestly, I'm just excited about leaving in general. I don't have any shows planned. I want to, but I think I've had a lot of shows for the past 2 years, which is weird because we didn't get to have shows before as digital artists. Now we do. And
Right.
I really want to be more on the curator side of things right now. I really want to help more people, more artists to get onboarded on shows. So you know that I work with Xerox Society on that matter. Here in Montreal, we have this digital art gallery where we always have like new exhibitions every month, with also emerging artists as well. And that is a very important thing for the community, um, to really uplift every artist's voice, every creative's voices. It's all really important for me. That's another aspect of my work, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, that's about it. Honestly, not much. Like I just like I'm looking forward to seeing my family, getting back to France and for Christmas, and getting back to Japan next year. Hopefully, it's just like I love life is fun. Life is fun
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
things are going well. Life is fun, and then like you cry to bed every single night, but eventually in the morning you wake up and it's still fun. So you gotta
Yeah,
share that energy with other
exactly.
people.
Exactly. Yeah, it sounds like amazing big things to come, like the roller coaster that life is. But
Yeah.
uh yeah, just really, really happy to catch up. And yeah, I those were all the questions that I had
Thank
today. But
you. I really
yeah.
appreciate you for all of those really sensitive and really really well thought questions. As per usual, it's always such a pleasure to talk with you, and I'm glad that you're just eager to listen to me at all, because like I talk a lot. I could talk forever,
Oh
and
my gosh.
it's just like it's I'm really grateful for that, and for everything that you've done for me at Infinite Objects. Like you are always such a dream to work with. And I know that a lot of people are so obsessed with what you do and all of the things that you make possible with Infinite Objects. Just like it's so nice. Like honestly, I kind of want to have like I think I'm gonna do like an Infinite Objects on my dog. Like I have this shot of like my dog and and I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, I think I want to get that into an Infinite Object and just like have the
Oh
shot
my
on
God.
repeat, because like that's what
Love
him when he was a puppy, and I'm obsessed.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, I love that. Yeah, let me know when you place the order. I'll push it through top of the line. I love it.
Of
Um,
course. Thank you.
Alycia, you are a legend. Thank you so much again and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Take good care.
Yes, chat soon. Bye.
Bye.